It's very rare that we get this kind of excitement. It's very rare that we're in this. It's been a while, like Will said. But whenever we do, we got to bring in those guys that were with us when we were down in the depths. The guys that may or may not have wished us to fall so that we could get a Jaden Daniels and have the year that we had. Friend of our show and our guy, Jack Neidermeyer. What up, Jack?
What's going on, fellas?
Nice.
W, baby.
Yeah, I'm not used to this, guys. I'm not. No. In all honesty, I've been looking at mock drafts because I'm just so like plugged into just to having them. I'm like, hey, I wonder what the mock draft would be this time. And then I'm like, wait, we're not picking until the 20s, maybe in the 30s. See,
right?
You just don't know. So yeah, but yeah, I'm just not used to this moment. I think how old were we when they won the Super Bowl? 9?
90. Yeah. Yes, we were 9.
I was 9. Yeah, 92. Yeah, and I barely remember them winning that last playoff game against the Bucs back in 2004, and that's it. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was really important we brought you on because the two of you guys were the ones that for many, many Sunday mornings we would be sitting shotgun in my car, and it'd be early Sunday morning after Saturday night festivities. So we were pretty groggy the next morning, and we would start off the day by hearing Papa Roach as loud as my speakers could play it.
Last resort.
To get hyped up to go to FedEx Field.
Yeah.
And what would happen? We would often go see losses. So the fact that our team is still playing, this is a huge moment for us.
Come on now.
Oh, big time. I remember one of the last home games I went to, it was against the Chiefs. And it started snowing like through halftime. Mm-hmm. And I think we were down by, I think it was like 34 something terrible. And then we kicked the kickoff from halftime, and the Chiefs ran it back, and I made Melissa leave. I made us just go home. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm not sitting in traffic anymore. We're just
that was a miserable game. Yes, yeah. I do remember. And you called from saying, I'm never going to a Redskins game again.
That was the game? That was the one that you said you're never going again? Oh, my goodness.
I think that was the last one I went to. No, wait, there's one I went to with you, Will, against Cleveland. And I think we had one. Yeah, I think that's the last one I went to.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Craziness. But look, we fought through it. We've been through the dark days. We are here. We got the win in this game, beating Tampa 23-20 at the very end. Jack, give us your reaction. Give us your first reaction. How you feel, man?
So this whole season, I've been playing with house money. Like, it's just this blows all expectations that I had away, and I just been living day to day. I'm so used to losing. I think they're going in. Okay, we're down. We're probably going to lose, but as the season's gone on, like I'm starting to become a believer. Like no matter what, like no matter how far down they are, they'll put together 2-3 drives. That 9-minute drive against Tampa to keep their offense off the field was just backbreaking. I'm so used to seeing that happen to us, and then being able to do that to another team is just I haven't felt that in a long time. So it's good, and I think a lot of the fans are coming out. I saw a lot of Redskins / Commanders jerseys in the stands down there in Tampa Bay. Yeah. Like I've heard I listened to a lot of the fan up here. Grant Paulson was down there talking about how many fans were coming out of the woodwork in Florida. Apparently they have a big presence down there in Florida.
They did. You could hear MVP chanted at times during the game.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to go to work on Monday, and I had trouble falling asleep. Like with the doink to win it, like I couldn't believe it.
Right.
I think it was up to 12:30 at night, just trying to laying there in bed with my eyes.
Yeah. I kept refreshing social media. I think what you said is right. There's like this feeling of surprise because we're just not used to this. And every game it seems like they put together, especially in the second half of games, they put together a very long sustained drive that prevents the other team from getting back out there and getting us needed points. But all season, this has just been fun. You know, obviously the type of fan that I am has changed in the last like 5 to 10 years, especially the last 5. And Trisha and I talk about being positive role models for our boys when they watch us, when sports are on, and we try and not be so critical of of what's happening and just kind of cheer. So That's they great. See that, how this can be enjoyable. And so I'm not on the edge of my seat the whole time for every game. But, there's certain moments that you certain get into. I mean, to react, everyone was going to react in the Chicago game the way,
sure.
So
how could
everyone
you
would lose your stuff. But I just been sitting back and just enjoying the type of team that they've put together, watching Jaden play and his growth throughout the year and how dynamic he is, to the point where when they got the ball with 4 minutes left in the game, I was the most confident I've ever been. I was like, this is what he does. And we only need 3 points.
It's amazing. Yeah, I know. I'm like, here it comes. He's going to put the team on his shoulders and just, get it done. Like, there's some crazy stat I was looking at. Like, the lack of the run gain's appalling. Like, it's been I think he had like 238 of like the 278 yards or something like that for the whole offense. Like, it was nuts. So, yeah, he's killing it, man. He's just got to, as long as he stays healthy, I think it's just, sky's the limit. So
yeah.
It's beautiful to see. It genuinely is when you have a guy like that. And like I was telling Janae yesterday, it's just that feeling that even though you may be down, even though you might be struggling, you talked about the running game not working. It's things just continually seeming to happen at the right time. Obviously, that fumble on the fake jet sweep by Baker, and then Wagner comes and picks it up. And I mean, even in that situation, when Wagner went down for that, like it was, each of them had equal opportunity. Wagner went and took it, and it's just that feeling like we won't be denied. Like even after the turnover on 4th, and they get the ball back, and they could have really stolen the momentum, but we really, it's just everybody believes in it, and you can hear it at the end of the game when Wagner talked about JD5. I just love playing with this guy. I just love being around him. It's such a good feeling to have the quarterback there, but then you look at the whole body of work. And then we just got to shout out Peters, Quinn, all those guys, because what they've been able to do is putting us in this position. Yes, getting Jaden, that was great. But then also the 30 new players, all the old coaches that are now on our coaching staff. I mean, the team it gives you this sense of we belong here. We're not like 2020 where we're limping in, we're winning 1 out of the last 4 games. This right here is, we were built to be here. Even if we don't have the roster we want yet, we're still built to be here. And that's something I am just over the moon about.
Yeah. What I think what's so interesting is when you're watching the game and kind of, I'm able to also sit back and just kind of see how it goes, is the adjustments that the coaching staffs make throughout the game. That's what I'm always intrigued and get so impressed by. You hear about during the game. I didn't like the fact our very first drive, we went for it on 4th down, didn't get it inside the 20 and gave up a chance for 3 points. But then you find out later on that Dan Quinn has said they don't want to give Baker the ball back. Their whole thing is the more that they can have the ball gives them a better chance at scoring. And so they were going to go for it on 4th down every single chance that they got. I was like, okay, you saw a little bit about that. At one point, Marshawn Lattimore is getting torched by Mike Evans. What did they go do? They went to the other game plan that they had, which was to double Evans and put Lattimore on the other side. So like they're not just having, this is how we play, and if it's not working, it's not working. They have other ways to bring it in. I love the fact that every second half, Joe Witt Jr.'s defense goes big. He puts 3 D tackles out there, and Jalen Holmes, number 96, who's a bigger defensive end, he stops the run. Every second half, we do much better against the run. He changes his game plan as well. And that's the type of stuff we haven't seen since Joe Gibbs was the head coach, Joe Gibbs 1.0. And that was what he was so famous for, was coming back with halftime adjustments. And that's exactly what you're seeing out of this coaching staff. And that's just what makes the game so much fun, is there's an air of competency that we've never had under Snyder's time.
Feels good. It feels really good. It really does. And look, I mean, we can go to this game all day, but kind of like the players, kind of like anything in this kind of situation. Yes, it was nice. it was great, but unlike the Cowboys, we are in the playoffs still. We are still going on, and it makes you feel great. But let's go into really quickly. Let's talk about this. We are winning, and I like to go back to 2020. We had you on the show, and you said to us, I don't want to make the playoffs. Our draft selection is going to be far lower if we make the playoffs. I don't want this. Now, Will and I we were on the stuff. We were just like, playoffs? We could do this. Like, we could go. They're like, no. So let's ask this question. Is this making it more difficult? I mean, at the expense of winning and the joy for us, is it making it more difficult for Adam Peters and them to help rebuild or keep building this team?
Sure. So from a personnel standpoint, I think you're going to attract, higher market free agents, which is great. But the thing that I'm most concerned about is Cliff Kingsbury leaving. So I think he's done an outstanding job with Jaden Daniels. Like, I think he, has done a great job with the team. And so at this point, like, I'm more concerned about him leaving for a head coaching position somewhere else. But on the other side of it, he's still getting paid by Arizona, so it's not like he needs the money. But at the same time, you just don't know if his calling's to go out and try to be a head coach again. So I don't know. So that's my biggest concern. But from the free agent list and everything like that, I think Adam Peters, like from the people he's losing next year and everything, or after this season, I'm not too concerned. But that's my biggest concern is just losing the coordinators from a winning team, which I'm not used to saying. So, but otherwise, I think we have a lot of positivity to look forward to next year. We have what third most in cap space or something like that, or at least I know it's for sure top 5. So we can, with the holes that we have like in our roster right now and how we're playing, like with the way that they're coaching them up, like I think we're going to be even better. So, they can, revamp the line, add some more depth, add a true number 2 receiver if they really wanted to. You're going to lose Bobby Wagner, which is not a huge loss, but I don't know, it's 33, 34, something like that. I don't know how much longer he's going to play, but
I don't know. He's getting his MBA from Howard, so he's here in town.
At least another 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
Let's go. End your career here. Let's
do it.
I think you bring up a great point about, so like from a draft perspective, this is going to make things a little bit more challenging, because, you're not picking in the top 20 right now. You're not picking, we were expected to pick in the top 10, go at the beginning of the season going into next season. But there's two folds to it. I was just pulling up some of the like notable draft picks in the last 2 years from pick 24 on. And you've got like Graham Barton, the Tampa Bay Bucks center, Xavier Worthy for the Chiefs. They added another weapon at pick 28. The Ravens added their starting corner and Nate Wiggins. The 49ers and Panthers added their wide receivers, Ricky Pearsall and Xavier Leggett. Sorry, that was last year. The Saints and Eagles drafted defensive linemen and pass rushers at the end of in 2023, and Brian Breesy and Nolan Smith. So it's not like you're losing out on talent, Brian Thomas Jr. went in the 20s. Jordan Addison went in the 20s. So there is still a chance you may not get who you may have, all the guys that everyone's going to swoon over. But the other part is what you just mentioned is the free agency. And what this is showing is, we heard about it during the trade deadline, where for the very first time ever, agents were saying, I got my players coming to me saying, hey, can you get me to Washington?
They want to come here. Yeah.
And if they're going to, not only do they want to now come to Washington, Adam Peters is not Vinny Serrato, who's going to say, Albert Hainsworth, I'm going to give you the first $100 million contract in NFL history. and Adam Archuleta, I'm going to pay you $10 million a year to be our personal protector. He's going to say, yeah, I'm interested in you, but here's my budget. Just like he did with Frankie Louvu and Dorrance Armstrong, the 2 multi-year starters he brought in for 3 years and 30-some million, about 10 to 11 million a season. So he's still being frugal or practical, I should say, with the contracts that he's given out. So we sit here and say from a draft perspective, we're going to be drafting a lot later than we thought. But that doesn't mean that what are we going to do in free agency with all that cap money if players want to come here?
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. And again, one of the strengths of Adam Peters, I feel, is being able to hit on those later round picks. So I was looking at a diagram of just different wide receivers that have been picked outside of the first round. You got like AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, like all these, or AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, like all like the list goes on of like guys that you can get like in later. Look at Terry McLaurin. Like it's just there's guys that are there, and I've got faith that Peters will do what he did in San Francisco and hit on those later round picks and do what Ron couldn't. So
kind of like getting a starting left tackle in the third round named Brandon Coleman, who barely any of us knew.
Yeah.
Sean, let you go. I know
Ron. Well, Ron, we know Ron didn't even get one of the things that he specialized in. He didn't get a daggone linebacker. It took us all these years to finally, now we got two or three linebackers, guys that we can put in there. But I think to both of your points, we've learned, especially over this last offseason into this last year, to trust their process. I told this to Will, not to steal something from the 76ers in basketball, but just trust the moves that they make. But I think one of the things that's huge, and this is why I piggyback on what you were saying, Jack, that I agree that I am also very concerned about potentially not just losing Cliff, but we have a number of coaches on our team with, obviously Cliff, Anthony Lynn, Ken Norton Jr., guys that have coached other places and have been highly sought after that are here. And if we could keep them with something that I think we need, them being here is part of the reason why the players have come, but you can get players in-house. We got money, so we've done that over the years. But once we get them in-house, what we've seen this year, players are developing. Players are getting better. Look at Chin early in the year. Look at some of the backup running backs early in the year, not really knowing if they're going to get an opportunity. One of the guys got cut, but whenever they have had their opportunity to come in and play, they have produced. Noah Brown, we picked him up. Zacchaeus, Will's guy, look at the things that he's been able to do. And even more, look at the moves they made in getting rid of people. The Jamin Davis, Emmanuel Forbes, Jahan Dotson. I was screaming at them. What are y'all doing? We don't have a number 2.
He got a touchdown. I saw him. He did.
Finally. But just having those coaches, it gives you that confidence. And to both y'all points, we are now a destination. We are now somewhere that players want to go. And even if we lose a guy like a Bobby Wagner, he's still going to tell people like, hey, you got this kid over here in Jaden, or you got this group of guys over here that really, they want to win. Do yourself a favor and go over there. And that's something we talked about, Will, before the season, or towards the middle part of the season. What constitutes a successful season? Was it the playoffs? Well, yeah, we're in the playoffs, and a lot of people can face value. That's a successful season. But I think the biggest part is people want to be here. People are excited about it. The pundits and all those people, the talking heads, they're not using us as a pun. They're not using us as, well, we know that Kansas City has the best in-house. Washington has the opposite. Now it's one of these situations where it's like, that Washington team, Detroit's good, but that Washington team can shock the world. And I'm here for all of it.
I love it. I love it.
Well, and I will say this: the two of you now have mentioned Bobby Wagner. I'm going to say this: he's a must re-sign free agent. I will let that man retire in DC because of what he is doing as a on-field coach, and he's still making. I mean, we saw he was right there around the ball when it was fumbled, and he's still making plays. He had over 100 tackles again this year, so I think he's an absolute re-sign.
Oh, it was after he got trucked by Baker too. Did you see him get trucked by Baker?
I did. He was to the side. He wasn't expecting it.
I know. If he was expecting it, he would have got it.
You got to know that Jaden said something to him when he got to the sidelines.
I love their interaction. I love them always busting each other. Yeah, it's great, man. Yeah.
You know what kind of is interesting though, and you all can speak on this when it comes to the team getting better, the culture changing, is actually what I'm seeing on their show right now. Jack, you're wearing a Commanders jersey. Shame on you. Sean, you're wearing a Commander's jacket. I've got on a Commander's hat. For the first time at New Orleans, one of the reporters wrote back that this was the first time he saw more Commanders gear than Redskins gear out of fans. And I can say right now, there's not a darn person in DC that doesn't want to have a JD5 jersey or a Terry jersey right now. I mean, I'm looking at it going, I swore I would never buy a Commander's jersey. I would barely buy Commander stuff. If we weren't doing this, Sean, for you, I wouldn't have gotten this hat. But like, we're starting to get over it. Like the whole point of like, they're talking like, we're always going to hate the name, but they kind of said winning can change things.
There it is.
And you're starting to see it. I mean, you all got to be telling me I'm hearing that, that there's Commander stuff everywhere. There's JD5 jerseys everywhere. Like people are back wearing their stuff in DC because
you can't get the black one anymore. Like the regular JD5 black jerseys sold out. Like at least in the larger sizes. Like you can't even get it now that Fanatics kind of took over. They have like some type of like fashion jersey or something like that. But it's not like the on-field jersey. I don't like it. But
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but he's like right now. He's probably the top 3 jersey sales of 2024, 2025. I'd say for sure.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah,
he's a must-see. He's a
must-see
attraction.
I didn't even tell you guys when I was out in Kansas. One of our friends' sons out there. He plays a lot of Madden. He's like, "Yeah, dude, Jaden Daniels, dude." I'm just like, "Yes, yes."
Look, that's not Madden. Try playing Madden with Patrick Ramsey and Jason Campbell. All right.
Yeah,
that's hard. All right.
I won Super Bowls with them. That's when I knew this wasn't legit.
That's not real.
Right.
Oh, man.
No, but yeah, to that point, man, it is just winning cures all. I mean, period. Like, and now you know how we look at some of the old Redskins and we say, I don't want to. Doug Williams or a Joe Theismann jersey that says Commanders because they weren't Commanders. But in the same way, you're like, JD5 ain't a Redskin. He's not a football team. He is a Commander, and it's just it feels good, and it feels comfortable. I don't know, man. I've been wearing this.
Stop it, John. Stop it.
We've talked about this so many times. Like winning fixes everything. So like I think the only way that they don't rebrand and maybe like when they get a new stadium or something like that is if they win the Super Bowl. So if they win the Super Bowl in the next couple of years, it's over. It's going to be Commanders. But if I think there's a chance, like if stadium time is coming up and everything like that, and there's opportunity to rebrand it, I think they'll do it. But yeah, again, winning fixes everything. If they're a perennial NFC championship contender, then I don't know. This might be it. Yeah. Maybe they'll change the jersey colors. I don't know.
Could really see it.
Or the scheme.
You want to know something? So before Christmas, I went on eBay and got Patrick a Clinton Portis jersey, and I gave it to him, and he was all excited, and he put it on. I think against the Saints game. It might have been maybe the one after that. He was like, "So where is he out here?" And I said, "Oh, he's actually retired. He was one of Daddy's favorites." And he got like sad. He was like, "Oh, I want a guy that's playing right now." And I was like, son of a gun. So I went out and got him a Jaden Daniels jersey, and it arrived last week for the playoffs and that type of stuff. But to your point, Jack, Sean, like what you just said about Jaden Daniels is this guy's a Commander, and that is how people are knowing him in these uniforms, in these logos and stuff. And it's like, I just, if it's winning, maybe I'll be for it, but it's still a little hard.
Well, now I did get my authentic Sam Howell Commanders jersey.
You did.
And that one is still
that was
solid.
worth it.
That was definitely worth it.
That was a good buy. That was definitely a good buy.
When else will I ever get a North Carolina quarterback? Not this year. Not
ever. Not ever.
It's not happening. And we are all good. But look, speaking of it, like we're saying, winning cures all. But and as you're talking about these jerseys, Jack being, they're not, can't get them and everything like that. It's because of who we have. Jaden Daniels, he is an attraction. And when we go ahead and we look at real quickly, we want to get you while we have you on here to look ahead real quick at this game. And the ticket is the most expensive ticket in the history of the NFL playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's almost like a G, like it's a super high ticket. What I mean, what are your thoughts about just the aura around this game, even before we just talk about it?
I just, I didn't think we'd be in the playoffs. I didn't think we'd win a playoff game. I think we can do anything. Like at this point, like I have no idea what the limitations of this team are at this, like the way that things are going. So, I'll keep it going. I'll keep it riding. But I think to beat Detroit, it's going to take either what we did with Tampa, when you completely control the clock even more. Like you gotta have sustained long drives. You got to keep them off the field as much as possible. And if you can't, then you got to stop the run, because I think Jahmyr Gibbs is just going to destroy them. Like as we've had trouble with Saquon and other guys that kind of fit that mold. So I think those are going to be the big two keys right there. They kind of were able to stop the run, I thought, against Tampa, but again, they were able to control that clock and keep them off the field a lot. So they didn't really give them the opportunity to run the ball. Mm-hmm. So I think that's it, guys. Like I know they got St. Brown, they got Williams, they got Laporta. Is that right? Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So they're able to run the ball. They're able to pass the ball. They put up 35 plus points like it's nothing. So but I think we can win. I think that games that I think that we're going to lose by a lot, somehow we manage to keep it kind of even, and then keep it to like a 1-2 score game by the fourth quarter, and then we're able to get the ball in the end, and then what we won, like 5-6 games that have come down to like the last possession this year. So I'm just used to sitting there watching it, so I just it doesn't faze me at this point. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to have to do. Just keep on doing what we've been doing. Yeah.
Pretty much. I think the last point you bring up about, we keep winning at the end of games. That has me slightly like, okay, when are we not going to get this opportunity? Because we keep getting the possession at the end, and that's how we win the game. Or our defense stops in the Saints game on a 2-point conversion. They, didn't need to run, to win it.
If Kamara was there, we would have lost that game, but it's okay.
Probably, yeah, most likely. So you kind of get a little bit worried about that, but also here I'll say this: like throughout the country, especially this season and what they've built, like Detroit has become, everybody's like, yeah, I'm okay if they win. That's kind of a good story. That's a cool story. Like how many times for Thanksgivings have been where it's not that exciting a game. And I mean, I was tuned in this year. I mean, I wanted to see them play Caleb Williams. I wanted to see Detroit. We don't get a chance to see them all that often. I was like, I want to see this squad. They're putting up, a ton of points and all that. However, as we talk about, it's a long season. And the last couple weeks have been problematic for Detroit in a spot where we are pretty good, which is through the pass game. Mm-hmm. In their last 5 games, I believe it is, they're giving up more than 300 yards passing to guys like Brock Purdy, which, hey, if this was last year, no sweat. This was not the San Francisco team, before. They gave up a bunch to Josh Allen. That's okay, it's the Bills. Like, that's going to happen. But Caleb also had a big game against them. They showed that, hey, this guy does have a little bit. So there's a little bit of vulnerability there, especially the fact that the only way we score points these days is from number 5. Whether it's him passing or whether him, taking over and just running for dear life. Yeah. So that you talk about it, Jack, like there is a chance there where if our recipe is a spot where they have some vulnerability. So that's why I think it's going to be interesting to kind of see if we're able to keep that stuff going. And Sean, I'm going to let you talk about your guy and if he's going to step up.
No, and listen, and we know how important kind of this game is, and you know what? It's funny because I was at Ford Field the last time we played, and I was surrounded by that Honolulu Blue and all those Lions fans. And that's when we had Carson Wentz. That's when they jumped out early to the 21-0 lead. Like they were both Swift went off on us. Amon-Ra St. Brown went off. And we tried to come back late in that game, but we weren't able to do it. But yeah, to your point, and we got some guests. I want to ask them about this as well. where, shout out to Amon-Ra, because that's who we're going to have stop. And we've had to play elite receiver almost every week, all the way back to Evans in the first week and Larry Marvin Harrison Jr.'s son and Malik Neighbors, yada, yada, yada. I mean, Jamar Chase, the whole nine. And this is no different. But I think it's funny that when you hear Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the little stories or interviews that came up was him saying, I look at teams and players that got drafted ahead of me, namely Diami Brown. And I'm like, see, I'm better than that guy. I'm just like,
yes.
For real. You're absolutely right. But y'all know how I feel about Diami, my guy coming from North Carolina, who has let me down all the way up until this week. And then shout out to you finally showing up. I'll take it. But I mean, with that, like that, talk to me about that, because it's kind of like they have motivation against us. Can we get amped to play them? That's the thing.
Yeah. Will there be a single punt this game? That's my question. I don't think so.
Pressway is a really good placeholder, like a kick holder. Let's let him do that.
He's on the last year of his $13 million contract. He gone.
Don't do that. Don't do that to us.
MVP. That's what they really called for. They
right?
knew Tress was on the sideline, so they were saying MVP.
Right.
No, in all seriousness, no. They need to hit on those fourth downs. Like in this game, I'm sure they're going to be going for it. So if they can hit the majority of them like they did last week, I don't see a problem with it. But one stat I saw is that Jaden had a perfect QBR on third and fourth down passing downs in the last game. It's like 138 or something like that. He was like 9 for 10 with like a touchdown. It's if he plays like that, like it's.
How do you have a perfect rating if you go 9 for 10?
I don't know. That's a good question, Will. Ask the internet. Yeah.
But Sean, when you were saying, I really hope, like last week, Diami came out of nowhere and became our number 2. And if you remember, about 5-6 weeks ago, Terry said, hey, this is the opportunity for guys to step up. Diami's shown us that he can do some things. And we were like, oh, okay, we heard this before. And all of a sudden, in the biggest game of his career, when we needed it, he did. And you almost kind of hope, if the Commanders are smart, they are at practice every single day this week. They're going up to Diami and showing that clip in his face to say, this guy's calling you guys out. Are you going to do something here? Just to see, because we are going to need, I would imagine, especially with, Detroit plays a lot of man defense. They're going to do what Philly did to us in that first game and blanket Terry. So somebody, out of the game. It's going to have to be, if it's not Diami, is it OZ? Is it going to be, Zach? Somebody is going to have to step up to bail out Jaden, because he can't run from his life against some of their defensive ends.
Sure.
Yeah, and can we stop calling running back QB powers and QB
and counters?
Yes.
Yeah,
can we not do that, please? Good God. What were you saying, Jack?
You guys confused me by bringing up the QB powers. So wait. No, who's even starting at corner for Detroit at this point? Like they're their third or fourth depth at this. Like I don't even know. Like I know like they lost like their other starting cornerback I think a couple weeks ago. So at this point, like I don't even know where the depth's at for that. But you should ask those Detroit guys when you're.
They're going to have to teach us this. But Kirby Joseph's leading the league in interceptions, so it sounds like, and Brian Branch is right behind him. So the guy who Washington said they were going to draft, and then we decided to get Emmanuel Forbes instead. So I don't know why we lied to him, but. They seem to, within their scheme, their safeties are the ones who kind of, make those plays. But it's gonna. Like you said, Jack, if we can do time of possession, if we can play the type of game we're going, and I think we really have to go through our passing game to set up anything. It's not out of the possibilities.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible, and with this team, anything is possible.
Yeah, I'm not feeling great about it, but anything is possible. And to your point, Will, it's not going to be a Terry, it's not going to be a Diami, it's going to be a collective. It's going to be it's not. He hasn't done anything. He's done one thing. He had 2 games in his career. One was against the Titans back when we lost that game with Carson Wentz. He had 2 big
75-yard touchdown. Yeah,
that's it. That's it. He hasn't done anything, even when he had Sam Howell. I'm not talking about Diami anymore. All right, look, Jack, we appreciate you, our guy. We are so glad you were here with us when we were sad, and now you're here with us again. We are flying high, baby.
I just don't want it to stop. Please,
Yeah.
please, Jaden, stay healthy. Don't get hurt. I think that's the only thing that could really make me cry. But some of the hits he takes, guys, I sit there and I hold my breath, and I just really wish these, would just slide a little bit more often, just a little bit more. But
like when he got destroyed on the sidelines.
Oh,
yeah. I'm a little bit worried about that. Or he got his knee buckled from the side a little bit on that low blow, and then
you see that?
Man, and then it's stuff like that that just makes me hold my breath. But so far so good. We're getting the puck luck this year, and we'll see what's up.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could establish the run early. We can't run the ball.
Yeah, I don't know, Nathan. I mean, the Bucs defense was top 5 against the run. The Lions aren't top 5, but they are better at stopping the run. And I don't know. I don't know if it's the scheme. I don't know if B-Rob's hurt, but like our running ability is gone.
I've heard it's a combination of B-Rob being hurt and like in the interior line just being kind of beat up as well. So like I just don't know if it's going to be any better for the rest of the season. We'll see.
Yeah. That's why I think you have to establish it through the pass essentially.
Yeah.
And use Austin Eckler a lot, which will make Sean extremely happy.
Hey, he's a good change of base back. I agree. Mm-hmm. B-Rob was pretty ineffective last week. So Eckler had that 8-yard run, I think, to open up that 9-yard or that 9-minute drive. And then, from there, he just kind of set the tone. But I think that was the longest run of the game, at least for the running backs. So,
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, Jack.
I'll be sitting here. And there's a Saturday night game this time, which I am pumped about. So
that's right. We're excited to see it, man. Hey, appreciate you joining us, man. So glad you were able to get on here, man.
I think it might be close to our time, guys. Have a good one.
Hail to the Skins.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, go Commanders.
Yeah.
I had to think about one.
Yeah.
See you, buddy.
Yeah, buddy, man. Yo, shout out to our guy, Jack Neidermeyer, who was here with us when we were bad, and he's still here with us now.